Alright, now we're back with turn number 5 of the Strong Arms and Swift Steel campaign as House Lannister. I do apologize for kind of the blur into turn 4 and 5 in the last episode slash turn, but I was running a little bit low on time over the weekend because I was doing 12s, which, if any of you know how that goes, you know how it goes. So, basically, I was running low on time. But, with today we have William Mooton, who will be falling to our blades. But not by Sandor. And not by Kevin. Okay, so this last bit I'm a little foggy on what I ended up doing, because I know I threw Tommen's men in here. I want to say I threw the 150 forward, and I grabbed Kevin after I tossed him in. I think I threw Mandon Moore in here, because he gets a Star of Command from this. Okay, I know I put... This one's tricky. Okay, we'll throw you right there, just like we do. Alright, I believe we throw the fort there, because fort extends to here, and then the zone of control from this and from our army, from their perspective, we are an enemy army, so we block off any movement to here or here, which cuts off any scouting and or maneuvering around our army, which is wonderful. And I was very delighted to learn such thing. But if I moved this fort one tile up right here, then there would be just enough where they could jump over the zone of control via diagonal and just screw us up, which would trap us right there and kill us basically, which would suck. But if we take you, throw you there, grab you. Actually, yeah, if we would have thrown Mandon in there. Anyways, Mandon would have jumped in there, attacked, grabbed the army, threw him over there. And then any reinforcements, I think I started training even more guys. Started doing that. This was how Harrenhal looked. But anyways, Tommen did occupy this area. We killed Mooton. So that would be Harrion, Mooton, one of the Glovers. Is that three Stark generals already? It's 1, 2, 3 forts. So I would think, yeah. So in lieu of their armies being out of range, when I was testing, the Bolton commander actually got an extra 5% movement by the game's magic, you know, when I was testing during turns, and even with an extra 5%, having 25% movement, he's still out of range of this fort, so I feel even more comforted. So even Rob's men are out of range, and I can test to see what their movement range is, if you guys are so curious. Of course, he's got Ega for 10%, and that's it. Plus another 2 from the Commander of the North, which is 20%. Now, Bryden Tully's in range, he's in range, and he's in range as commanders and cavalry, because their percentage of movement. Now, Roose is the only one in range because this guy's out of range. This guy's... oh. But yeah, Roose is the only one. And I checked, he's only got Conscientious Trainer, which could turn into Drill Master, which turned into Drill Master during testing. And he's got Understand Logistics, which is 20%. So, strictly speaking, he is out of range, and shall stay that way. So yes, Mandon Moore actually gained a Star of Command during testing. And I think, yeah, we leave you out of range so they can't see you. Because the last thing I want to do is draw him back over here with, you know, threat. I don't want him to think there's a threat over here. I want him to think that it's all over here. This is where my last stand is at. Or this is where my troops are gathering to defend against your onslaught. So it will be something like this. Like fort here, so then that denies him, I think denies him just scouting privileges. And then grab you, throw you over here. And then we throw Devon in the trees. Now I've checked his movement. His movement gets to literally just barely to the tile of the castle, but either way, he can't get around this way because he's out of movement. He's out of movement, so he can't do it. But yes, unless he has a diplomat, he won't be able to see that Devon is hiding in the trees, ergo that he won't be able to tell that there's a night fighter who is about to screw up his next turn if he decides to besiege Krekal. And my men are definitely in range, which I was freaking out about yesterday for some reason. And I'll be also moving my diplomat somewhere over there. Now if they decide to move forward towards Lannister Port, of course that's a terrible idea, and I could fort this and protect my other castles. But it would be smarter to go out for Krekal navally, so I'm presuming Krekal, plus Krekal's out of the way. It's not as closely knit together as these other regions. Now actually I've tested this, but Malbrand is unfortunately out of range by like 2 points. But he's in range of Golden Tooth, so I'm gonna have to just ignore the Greyjoys as a threat for now and just move forward. Because it's gotta be done. We've gotta apply some more pressure and just choke them off right here. If we can like slowly kill off this stack or these stacks, that'd be amazing. Of course, if they make their way this way, we're kind of fucked. There's not really much stopping them. But at the same time, why would they give up their foothold in the Riverlands for 2 settlements? Because that just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I'm taking away 5 generals. Pretty much loyal generals. And if I get a chance, I will go for Stonehenge next turn because the men in range, these guys, if they don't move up to deal with the threat of us, then we will have to kill them off. So, there's that. As for Stannis, I'm going to leave my men where they are, as I'm a little scared. Not really sure what's going to happen, so I'm continually building up my troops at both of these places so I can thwart this possible landing party at either Rosby or Duskendale. If they land at Duskendale, I'll be just barely in range with these guys. I'll have more reinforcements from, say, Antlers. Well, that's an idea. Maybe I should start throwing men over here. I'll have to do that next turn. But anyways, I'm going to show you what the end turn looks like in a second. Okay, so here it is. Pretty much nothing changed on this side, just a little bit of movement of troops to make sure that we have as many men in range. And nobody's in the open, so that's great. I might actually have to put him back out in the open because I want him to be in range of Duskendale. More men the merrier. Anyways, he's a ways away from being in range of any possible forts. Yes, I surrounded that diplomat like I said. I'm just putting down a watchtower. And watchtowers are illegal. I'm just showing you that like nobody in range is bad. Here's where the mercs will spawn. I won't be able to move them until next turn, but that's because you can spawn them anywhere, which is super, super nice. Now I put those men there, and that's because I get 5 units. So I don't really want to scare them off. I want to draw them in. because they know I don't have any night fighters. But this guy is a promising attacker and a good fighter, so possibly might just scare them off. Don't know why I'm throwing Stafford over here. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm giving him all these ancillaries from Armory. Armory Lork. But yeah, we're trapping him. We're trapping him. There's like 2 units there. Yeah, they took out all their defensive forts too. So when I start using their forting system against them, that's when it's going to be bad news bears. Plus, Kevin and Clegane are both in range of this fort in case they attack me, which is amazing. Of course, if they move their men over here, then I might have to stop and just fort off, which would be fine with moi. But that just gives me more time as I have more castles in better positions. And plus their eyes are taken and gouged out. Now, perhaps next turn I can start building some swordsmen, but I need that 8,500 now to get mercs now. Also, update on Fontaine. Loras got some troops from the south, so I'm going to have to start garrisoning up King's Landing. Also, I believe we took out Joffrey because he's losing money, in a sense. Let's see, if we gave it to you... Oh my gosh! We need to put Tyrion back as like the main man here. Joffrey, go tyrannize that castle and make it better. I'll have to remember that for next time. So, thank you everybody. This is the end of turn 5. I'll see you in turn 6. Berry Night out.